Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we are looking at Injective Protocol. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so we're going to just have a quick overview of the two counts that I'm currently looking for. So we have two counts here where we could argue that this is just a connector wave here, and that we are looking for this as a B wave. Now, if this is the case, what we could actually have is that this is A, B, C into here, and then we have this as another A, B, and a C to the upside. Alternatively, we could actually have it that this Y wave is still continuing, and we could look to push up higher towards this 786 or this 854, which is sitting at this $13 and this $16 respectively. Now, these higher levels here would be quite interesting if we do move up here, because it would be looking to bring us back up into some of this previous structure. It'd be interesting to see whether we actually manage to get an additional push up into these levels where we actually have another leg to the upside here. So this is looking at that possibility that we could look at this as a corrective move. Now, for as long as we actually stay within this target box and we fail to take this high point here of this $25, we need to be aware there is this possibility we could be looking to break down for a C wave, which could look to potentially take us down towards this 42 cents at a 1-to-1. Alternatively, what we do have is some other levels here. This 0.618 would be particularly interesting to me as a C wave. This could be a minimum requirement met if we do see price actually break down into these zones. Now, obviously, we do have some other levels here. There's a 786, 854, and this 1-to-1. Now, within this, what we could actually have is also the bullish case, where we argue that this is actually a corrective move completed into this low here. And what we could be doing is actually setting up a series of 1s and 2s, where this becomes 1, 2, 1, 2. And then we're actually looking at this bullish push to the upside here, looking for a target that would currently be sitting around this level of this $46 for a wave 3 of the blue count. Now, invalidation of this comes by crossing this $2.45, and it is possible that we are still within this corrective move. For as long as we remain within this channel, I will be looking for that possibility that we could have continuation to the downside here, where this becomes an A, B, and then we could actually still see continuation down here. Or we could argue this is A, B, C. We have a connector wave here, and then we're going to see another move to the downside, something like this. So these target boxes are over here, this $5.60 to this $3.26. If we start to lose this $3.26, it becomes less likely we're going to see that continuation to the upside here, and then we would be looking rather at that possibility of that corrective move to the downside still. So we're going to go over the internals of this count now, the bullish count first, and then we'll go over that bearish one and the two possibilities that I'm looking for with that. So within this, what we could actually argue is that we could either be looking at this as 1, 2, 1, 2 here, or alternatively, we could argue that this could be an extension in a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're looking for this fifth wave. Now, if this is the case, invalidation comes by crossing this $4.58 here. And what I'm looking for here is the possibility that we are still within this fourth wave. Now, we could argue that this is just ABC and we've completed into here. However, we need to just be aware there is still that potential for, as long as we actually fail to break back above this high of this 927, that we could actually be looking for this possibility of a breakdown one more time. And this 1-to-1, where this is A, B, and then looking for this is a C wave, would actually be down here at this $4.93. Now, the way I'd be looking at this would rather be W, X, and Y here, where this would become A, B, and C. So we need to just be aware there is still that possibility that we could see price actually push down here one more time, looking to target out this $4.94. Now, like I said, invalidation is at this $4.58. So if we do push down here one more time, we'd have to just be cautious we're not in the bearish count. Now, if we are looking at that possibility that, and we want to say that this move is looking to break out here, given the current structure, what I would be looking at is something along these lines, where this becomes 1, 2. We have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, the typical yellow fourth wave target box would be between this 710 to this 671. Now, we have come into this already, and we could actually look to directly push to the upside here, where we'd be expecting a move up towards this 762 to this 786. Now, we need to be cautious here, because if we do just see one more push into this high here, it is also possible to count this as corrective as A, B, and C. So we're going to have to wait for this confirmation of this white fourth wave for, more confidence that this move is playing out. And really what I'd like to see here is if this move fails to actually hit this $8 region, then I would have a lot less confidence in the fact that this is making a 5-wave structure here. And I'd rather be looking at that possibility that we could actually see this just be a 3-wave move into the channel and then have that continuation. If price does continue to push up here, like I said, $8 $8.02 would be the ideal third wave location. Then we'd be looking for an additional fourth and a fifth, which could look to push us up towards this zone of this 863 to this 825. And then we'd be looking for an additional fourth and a fifth here. Now, it would be likely that this fourth, if it does play out like this, would actually come back and retest this channel before looking for this fifth wave to the upside, which could look to push us up towards this $9.08 to this $8.65. So this is the bullish direct breakout count. Now, if we had to see something like this, what we'd actually be looking for is this move to complete. So if we want to say that we've got a bullish move starting from this point, whether that's a fifth wave or whether this is now another 1-2, what I'd be on the lookout for is we'd be looking for this as a wave 1, looking for 2 to actually hold this support of this 598. If we fail to hold 598, we could actually see price start to break down here. Now, I do have a target box up here, which is got some levels in it, which we're going to discuss here quickly. So we do actually have some daily naked points of control, which is sitting here towards this 755 and this higher level here of this 789. As well as that, there is a monthly point of control up here at this $8.75. So this would tie into actually filling this gap here with naked points of control if we did see this 5-wave move to the upside here. Now, this would actually put us in a situation where we'd have to be a bit careful with this count, because if we are looking at this as the extension in the wave 1, what we could actually have is that this could actually mark our fifth wave location. So even though it would be very short, we need to just be careful, because if we do get this as 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, even if we fail to actually take this third wave, this could actually be our completion of this fifth wave move here, in which case what we'd actually be looking for is then a much deeper retracement here. And what we'd be looking for as a possible target area would actually be lower down here. So I'm actually going to go into this third wave high and say that we've had a truncation, for instance. What we'd be looking for would be a move back down to this level here of this $3.39 to this $1.90. So that would be looking at this as a single move to the upside. If we do look at it in this way, then we could actually look for that possibility to find support here. But once again, if we start to lose this $1.90, it becomes less likely we're going to see that actually play out. So that's the bullish count. These are relying on two things. On the extended wave 1, we cannot cross this 458, and on the idea that we have an additional 1-2-1-2, we cannot cross this 245. Now, if this move does come down here one more time and we actually see a pushback into these lower levels here, and we look to invalidate this idea of this extension in the wave 1, what we could actually then look for is that support lower down here, looking at this move as possibly a W, an X, and like I said, a Y wave, in which case we could see price come back into some of these lower levels here, where we could be looking at something along these lines, where we could see price push down in towards this $4.44. I would be keeping an eye on this 618 here as a primary area to look for. Obviously, we have the 50% close to this channel as well. That would be quite an interesting zone to keep an eye on, because that would be looking to actually retest these highs here. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Now, in the bearish count, we can argue two things. We can argue that this is either completed here, or we still have potential for one more leg to the upside. Now, if it is not completed, this is how I would be looking at the structure here, where we have this whole move as a W, this is an X, and then what we're looking for here is that this is A, B, and then C to the upside. So the support box for this is going to be pretty much the same here. We're looking typically between this 50% and the 786. I'm actually going to throw this 382 on here just to show you that we've actually come down into this level already. Now, what we need to be careful of is that if this is an X wave where we got this as an ABC and that's completed here, what we could see is price could start to move up in this C wave. So that 5-wave move would also work for this idea. And you know, what we'd be looking for here is, depending on whether we actually move down deeper here or not, we'd be looking for the possibility of actually seeing a move to the upside. So if we don't move down and we hold this low here of this $5.41, 1-to-1 would actually bring us up here towards this $21.97. However, it does look likely currently, because the structure needs to prove itself. If we fail to actually take this 821, I would be looking out for that possibility. We could face rejection and still see this additional push to the downside here, looking for this $4.44 at a 1-to-1. So that would be of this as a W and X, and then looking for this as a Y wave into this level. So we need to just be cautious here. we could actually still see continuation to the downside. Now, it is possible that this could be something like a flat correction here. What we could actually see is price could actually form a three-wave move, which looks to actually break this high. So I've got this listed as an invalidation here, but it's not really, because if we have a flat here, what we can see is price do this. So if we did see a move that just came up here, swept this high, came back down and rejected strongly, it would make it more likely that we have this as a flat correction in the Y wave, and then we'd be looking for, you know, this lower target here towards this this $4.44 as a possible zone for that to complete. Now, we could also argue that within this count, we could be getting something like a triangle within here, where this becomes A, B, C, D, and E. Now, if this is the case, effectively what we would have is another push to the downside here afterwards. So what we'd have is, this is an A wave, we'd get this triangle, and then we'd still see an additional push down into this target area. Now, if this is a triangle, it would be more likely that we're going to revisit these lower levels here of this $4.18 to this $4 region, and then possibly even lower towards this $3.30. So we need to keep an eye on these levels if we do see price, you know, start to break down. Now, with this, what I would be looking for within the count is effectively, if this is a triangle, we have two invalidation points currently. So moving below $5.38 would invalidate this, and moving above $8.17. So what we're looking for within this count here is effectively that with this, we are looking at this as an A wave up, a B wave down. Now, this would have to say is some kind of a double zigzag here, where we're looking for the C wave. Now, we've actually come up into the higher range of where I'd like to see this play out into. If this is a C wave, the 786 is sitting up here at the 750. So what I'd like to see here, if this is actually forming as a triangle, where we have this is W, this is X, this is A, B, and C, what I'd then be looking for is that possibility to see a three-wave move to the downside. But we need to be aware, you know, there is still that potential for continuation here to the upside. So we need to see that fourth wave invalidate first if we're looking for this possibility of coming back down. Now, I've got two targets for this D wave based off of the C wave size. So that's based off of this wave here. We have the green target box, which will be this $6.10 to this $5.78. Now, what I'd be looking for here is a three-wave move back down into these levels. Now, we do have this support box here sitting between this zone of this $6.21 to this $6.07, where we do actually have two naked points of control sitting around this area of this 618. However, if we do look to actually have a relationship to this B wave instead of the C wave with this D wave, what we'd actually be looking for is the possibility of coming back down here lower towards the zone of this 0618, which is sitting here at this 583 to this 575. So we only get confirmation of a triangle on the D wave, so we need to just be aware of that. Now, this also aligns with the center of this channel. This is why I'm thinking this is quite an interesting level, you know, possibly looking to swing fail this low here, and then looking to find support before looking for this E wave to the upside. Now, if we did move into this level here, what I'd then be looking for would be that possibility of getting an E wave to the upside here, where we'd be looking for between the $7.10 and this $6.79 as a possible target for a triangle E wave. Now, once again, if this is a triangle in this way, what this would mean is that we have the potential to actually push down one more time upon completion. And if we had to complete into this channel, what we'd then be looking for would be the possibility of having a one-to-one move to the downside, looking to actually target this level here of this $3.96. Now, this would be an important level. Obviously, $4 psychologically is going to be quite an important zone. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that if we do start to break down in this way. Now, another way that we could argue, like I said, is that within this structure, we could actually have this as a W, and we're actually still within an X wave here, looking for a bigger structure here, where this is a flat correction where we have three waves up, we have three waves down. Now what we're looking for is a five-wave move up. So if we do form that five-wave structure to the upside here, and we complete good structure within this, forming those additional fourths and fifths here, what we could actually see is price could actually move up towards this zone of this 1618 to this 1236, which is sitting here at this 859 to this 992. Now, if this is the case, I'd be keeping an eye on this high that we have on the left hand side here. This could potentially look to swing fail off of this, and potentially even come back into this higher region here, where this whole move could actually start becoming a bigger flat correction, which would align with some of the other coins. So I'm keeping an eye on this. If we do see price push up here, break this high and then reject in a 5-wave move and take this low, this would then effectively confirm the idea of this as a flat correction if we do get 5 waves up here and then looking for that break to the downside, though it could also be that 5th wave. So this is why it's a little bit tricky at the moment with this structure. You need to just be on the lookout for that possibility. If we want to argue it's completed, what we'd be looking at is that this is A, this is B, and then we're looking at this as a C wave where we came down to this 0.618, and then we're looking for that possibility of a reversal to the upside. So that ties into that idea that we'd be looking for that, that additional wave to the upside here, where we would be saying that, this B wave is completed here. But what we'd want to see here is if we are looking at trying to form a C wave to the upside, we need to see that 5-wave structure complete, get a 3-wave move back down, hold this low, and then look for that continuation to the upside where we are looking for that 1-to-1 level. So we need to just be patient here. Invalidation of this being completed into this low would actually be taking it, which is at this $5.38. So until we actually, break down here, we have this possibility that we could have something like this playing out. But I don't really like how short this wave is in comparison to these other two. It would make a lot more sense to me that this is WXABC, or alternatively, this is W, this is all X, and then we see another 3-wave move to the downside afterwards. That would be my most likely idea with this. Now, what we need to be careful of is if we are actually completed, because we talked about, let me come back onto the daily. We talked about coming into this zone here. Now, we have already rejected off the 702. So if we start to break down in a bigger way here, where we're looking for this C wave to actually begin, what we could see is price could be looking to be gravitated to the downside here. What we'd be looking at with this count is effectively treating this as 1, 2, 1, 2, and looking at this as another 1 and a 2. So now the rejection zone for this is quite interesting because we are right within the area of the 786, which is sitting here at this $7.52. And now if we did move up slightly higher, we do have this swing high sitting at the 750. This would be quite interesting. It would be aligning with the top of this channel as well. And if we did look to push up slightly higher, we also have this 854 at this $7.73. So keeping an eye on these. Now, the key thing here would be we'd be looking for that possibility of extension to the downside, but we'd only really get confirmation here by a move down towards this 1618 here at this $3.43. And what we'd be looking for within the yellow count here, which would be the internals of this white wave here, what we'd be looking for is this is a 1, 2. Then we'd want to see a deep move down towards this $3.87. And then we'd want to see an additional 4th wave here and a 5th wave to the downside, looking to target out this zone here of the $3.64 to this $3.31 level. Now, if we did see a move down in this way, what we'd then be looking for is additional structure here possibly. So we'd have to keep an eye on the previous 4th wave location and see whether we actually just get 3 waves up. If we do complete this as a move to the downside, any kind of 3-wave move to the upside could just be a 4th wave, and then we could see continuation down. Now, if this is the case, this would actually be looking to push us down here towards this $2.75 to this $2.32. Now, this would be dangerous though, because if we have a 5-wave move develop off a high like this, effectively what that means, this can only be an A wave or a wave 1. So if this is an A wave, what we'd be looking for is this is A, we'd get a 3-wave move back up, and then we'd get continuation down. If this is a wave 1, we'd be looking for wave 2 and then a much bigger wave 3 to the downside. So it's quite dangerous if we do actually develop this 5-wave structure down here. But really, until we actually break this high here of this this $8.23, we need to be cautious that we could still see this continuation down. Now, another way of looking at this is potentially we could also argue that this is a diagonal. Because of the structure within this, it is possible to count this as a 5-wave move, but it's not the most neat structure. You'd have to say that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2. This becomes 3, 4, and then actually you have a truncation here for a 5th wave. So because of that fact, we could also potentially argue that this is A, B, and C. So this ties into that idea of the triangle as well. Now, if this is ABC, what we have to be careful of is that this could actually be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're looking for this as a 5th wave as a diagonal pattern. So now what we'd be on the lookout for is that if this actually just develops in 3 waves up here. So we've actually come back and taken this wave 1 low already, so this has met the requirement. Now invalidation of this comes at crossing this 821, but if we just see a 3-wave move up here and then we see another 3-wave move to the downside, what we could actually see is price be gravitated between this 0.618 to this 1-to-1. Now we're not allowed to cross this 1-to-1. If price breaks through this 1-to-1 level here at this $4.91, this would actually indicate that we are not within a diagonal and we are within probably that more bearish structure where we're actually going to get that bigger 3rd wave to the downside, or this is just a corrected move. It can still break this level and not be an impulse, because really, like I said, you know, for that idea of an impulse, what we need to see is price reach this zone of this $3.87. If we just see an additional move to the downside here, where we actually push down towards $4.44, you know, or even possibly deeper, but not hitting that zone, we do have some potential target boxes within this level here. So I would be keeping an eye on how these actually interact with between this level here of this 494 to this 446, and then lower down here we have this 439 to this $4. This one would be particularly interesting to me. Like I said, that psychological level of that $4 would be quite an interesting zone to keep an eye on. Having a look at the daily CPR lines here, what we can actually see is that we are currently sitting on the central lines and we're holding this as support. For as long as we hold this as support, we could actually look to potentially see price move up to this S1 line here at this $7.52, S2 at this $7.90, S3 at this $8.31, and this S4 up here at this $8.66. So this would tie into that idea of seeing that continuation to the upside in those additional 4ths and 5ths. However, if we do actually look to lose these central CPR lines, what we could see is price could actually come back down towards this $6.73. We have this $6.30. This level here of this $5.92, and lower down here this $5.51. So I'd be keeping an eye on these levels. If we do see price come back down into these zones, could actually tie in with that idea of starting to have a bigger break to the downside. Now, as well as that, if we throw on the weekly CPRs, what we can see is within these weekly CPRs, we moved back into our central lines here, and then from there we actually moved up through these levels. Now we do have the S3 sitting here at this 774. So if we do see price move back up here, I'd be very interested to see if we get a rejection off of this. If we just see price come back up here into this and then we start to reject down in a bigger way, we could potentially find this support again here at this $7.17, this $6.57, and the central lines here between this area of this $5.98 and this $6 region. Now, if we did actually look to lose these central lines, what we could actually rather see is price could be gravitated to the downside here towards this 541, towards this 484, and this lower level here of this 424. So that would tie into that idea of that breakdown. Now, looking at the monthly CPR, what we can see is that we've actually managed to climb back above these central CPR lines. So this means that as long as we're above these, we have the potential that we could actually look for this S1 line target, which is sitting here towards this $8.40. So if we do see price continue to hold this level, what we could actually see is a movement up here towards this $8.40, towards this $9.55, or even potentially towards this $10.99. So going to be keeping an eye on these levels throughout the month, see how we react. Now, if we do actually start to break down below these and we actually end up breaking down from this level, I'm going to be keeping an eye on this 584. So this could be a potential support zone if we're looking at that possibility of finding support on the center channel. Alternatively, if we do look to break down in a deeper way, we have the R2 line here at this 443, and then our R3 line is much lower down here at this $3.27. So we need to keep an eye on these levels as price comes through them, and see whether we can continue to maintain these as support. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.